a witness to the unfolding nightmare, expressed immense gratitude for the swift response of law enforcement. For the fast response, I would say it was probably within 3 minutes. There were 8 officers present, he recounted, reflecting on how close he had come to being another victim. His gut-wrenching words echoed the reality of a man who had narrowly escaped a tragedy in the small town of Sebring. If our timing had been a little quicker, I'd have probably been one of the victims, he lamented, haunted by the thought. Just moments away from becoming the 6th victim, he had witnessed chaos and bloodshed that would soon be etched into the town's history as one of its most horrific crimes. The police would later characterize the crime as devastating and unthinkable, not solely because of the sheer violence, but due to the twisted motivations that fueled it. So how did it all unfold? What could possibly drive someone to inflict such horrific bloodshed? With the official reports and witness statements gathered, we will delve deeper into the events that led to this tragedy. In doing so, we aim to honor the 5 beautiful lives that were lost forever. To understand the context, let's rewind to a quiet Wednesday in late January. To be precise, it was the 23 of January 2019. Sebring, Florida, was following its routine, with residents settling into the new year, returning to work and engaging in daily activities. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary, especially at the SunTrust Bank, where 4 employees diligently handled transactions, assisted customers, and navigated through another workday in their serene small town. Sebring was not a place where crime lingered in the minds of its residents. This close-knit community, nestled in Highlands County, boasted a population of only about 10,000 people. It was the kind of town where neighbors exchanged friendly waves and people felt secure running errands or grabbing coffee without a second thought. The notion of a violent crime occurring in broad daylight was something only seen in the news, not here. However, on that fateful day, no one could have foreseen that Sebring would soon make national headlines, all because of one man. That man was Zephen Xaver, a 21-year-old whose inner darkness had gone unnoticed, lurking just beneath the surface waiting for the moment to erupt. As the clock approached 12:30 p.m. Zephen entered the bank not to inquire about his account or conduct ordinary banking business. Instead, he was cloaked in a ballistic vest under his sweatshirt, his intentions chillingly clear. Without warning, he brandished a gun, directing a bank teller and the startled patrons to gather against the wall. In that moment, the bank employees and customers had no choice but to comply, leaving Zephen in control. He ordered the teller to lock the doors, effectively trapping everyone inside. Zephen then commanded the 5 women bank employees and 1 frightened customer to lie face down on the floor, their heads turned towards the wall. There was no explanation, no clear motive, only cold, calculated orders. Then, in a horrifying instant, Zephen unleashed terror, shooting all 5 women in cold blood, firing 9 shots within the span of just 5 minutes. The brutality of the act was shocking, particularly in a small town like Sebring, where such violence was virtually unheard of. But what transpired next sent chills down the spine. Zephen did not flee. The brutality of the scene was shocking, especially in a small town like Sebring, where such violence was virtually unheard of. But what happened next sent chills down the spines of those who learned of it. Zephen Xaver did not flee. In a shocking display of audacity, Zephen Xaver did not attempt to flee or conceal his actions. Instead, he made a chilling decision. At precisely 12:36 p.m., he dialed 911 and nonchalantly informed the operator that he had just shot 5 people. As if the horror of his actions couldn't deepen, he approached the lifeless bodies of his victims and fired 2 more shots. While still on the line with the dispatcher, he even issued a chilling threat to take his own life. 911, where is your emergency? The operator asked. Yes, I'm at the SunTrust Bank in Sebring, he replied, his voice cold. All right, SunTrust Bank in Sebring. Yes, what's the address there? The operator pressed. I have no idea. Is it going to be 1901 US 27 South? He hesitated. Maybe yes. And what's going on there? The operator continued, oblivious to the horror unfolding. In a chilling confession, the voice on the other end of the line revealed the unthinkable. I just killed 5 people. Well, technically, about to be 6. The dispatcher struggled to process the gravity of the situation. Can you repeat that? I killed 5. Yes, he confirmed, his tone eerily calm. I didn't think I could do it. The dispatcher probed further, but why did you do that? The response was unsettling in its honesty. I honestly don't know. He then disclosed the weapon he had used, a 9mm. Where are they? The dispatcher inquired, hoping for a clearer picture. They're lying up against the wall, like I told you, he replied, almost casually. Just as you instructed them to. The dispatcher pressed, okay. Why did you do this? I don't know, he admitted, his voice void of emotion. I thought that I could. I have wanted to do other things as well. The dispatcher sensed a deeper darkness. So, you wanted to go through with it? Do you know them? Nope, he replied, a chilling detachment evident in his words. Where is your gun right now? The answer was equally unnerving. In my hand. In the lobby, wearing a red sweatshirt, he continued, revealing his intentions to end his own life as well. And I'm getting ready to kill myself too. The dispatcher pressed further. You're getting ready to kill yourself too? Why are you going to do this, sir? Because I have thought about killing people ever since. His voice trailed off. Why? Can you please explain it to me? The chilling response came, I don't know. I've wanted to die since I was 9. I wanted to kill since I was 11. The dispatcher, desperate for clarity, asked, so why? What is your name? The response was a haunting dismissal. It's not important. You can find it on my body. Can you please say your name again? The answer came back, chillingly matter-of-fact. You can find it on my body. Confusion mounted. It's on your bike? Where is your bike? My body, he clarified, the implications hanging heavily in the air. Your body. Why is that? The answer was as unsettling as it was cryptic. Because I won't be allowed to tell them my name. Can you put the gun down? The dispatcher urged, frantic. No, I cannot. The dispatcher reassured him. We have people coming to help you. Desperation hung in the air as a frantic caller pleaded for help, urging a voice on the other end to stay with him. Sir, what is your name? He asked, his tone a mixture of fear and urgency. You can find it on my body, please, sir. Can you please stay on the line with me? Okay. Can you please stay on the line with me? Sir, what is your name? But the chilling response was the same. You can find it on my body, please, sir. Can you please stay on the line with me? We're going to get you help. But he retorted, I don't want help. The dispatcher persisted. What happened to you that made you want to kill yourself? Since you were 9, something broke. Nothing fixed it. The dispatcher pressed further. What broke? The reply was hauntingly vague. I don't know. You're not sure what happened? The man's voice dripped with resignation. What you don't understand is that I don't want help. As chilling as this sounds, the calmness with which Zephen Xaver confessed to his horrific actions was deeply disturbing. Even more horrifying was the fact that he fired again while still on the phone, his demeanor unyielding, devoid of remorse or fear. Victor Sparks, the man who had just arrived at the bank with his wife Deanna, was oblivious to the chaos that was about to unfold. They had planned a simple deposit, a routine errand, but fate held a darker path. As Victor approached the bank's north side doors around 12:35 p.m., he was met with an unsettling sight. The doors were locked. Peering through the glass, he was greeted by darkness within. Thinking perhaps the doors were simply stuck, he tried again, only to be met with the same chilling result. On his second glance, his heart plummeted as he saw a row of 4 to 5 people lying face down on the floor, a figure looming ominously behind them. In that moment, realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. Something was terribly wrong. Instinct kicked in as he turned to flee back to his vehicle, but just as he did, 2 deafening gunshots rang out. Victor's mind raced as he called the police to report the horror he had just witnessed, but tragically, by then, the damage had been done. Just moments before, the witness had been oblivious to the horror about to unfold. Suddenly, he heard 2 loud bangs, the unmistakable sound of gunfire. Instantly, he dialed the police, reporting the chaos he had witnessed, but it was too late. The damage was done. As he approached the bank, he found the door locked, an unsettling sign. Leaning forward, shielding his eyes from the blinding sun, he caught sight of a grim scene unfolding inside. 4 to 5 bodies lay sprawled on the far side of the lobby, an individual moving ominously behind them. The victims of this horrific crime were now lifeless, caught in a moment of terror. The victims would later be identified as Deborah Cook, age 54, a dedicated bank employee, Marisol Lopez, age 55, another employee, and Jessica Montague, age 31, a valued staff member. Along with Cynthia Watson, age 65, a customer, and Anna Pinion Williams, age 37, also an employee. Each of these 5 individuals had families who were waiting for them to return home. That day held plans for them, plans that would never come to fruition. Even more heartbreaking was the stark reality that none of these women had any connection to Zephen Xaver, nor had they encountered him before. The attack came out of nowhere, leaving the community reeling. Yet, amidst the tragedy, there was one lone survivor, Benjamin Wysowski, a bank employee who had narrowly escaped the horrific scene. Benjamin, who worked as a teller at SunTrust Bank, had stepped out for a quick lunch. After grabbing a bite at Checkers, he returned to the bank, greeting a familiar face, Larry Smith, before heading to the break room, which was tucked away at the back of the bank. There, he settled in, eating his lunch while watching YouTube videos on his phone. But everything changed about 30 minutes later when he heard 2 loud bangs. Initially, Benjamin dismissed the sounds as fireworks, but the reality dawned on him when he recognized them as gunshots. He quickly glanced at the security monitor, but nothing alarming appeared on the rotating screens. Suddenly, another round of gunfire erupted, and in that moment, Benjamin understood that something was terribly wrong. With adrenaline surging through his veins, he dashed out of the building through the rear door, leaving his phone behind, a lifeline now lost. He sprinted through a wooded area behind SunTrust Bank, seeking safety at the nearest house. The first home he reached offered no refuge, but he pressed on, finally arriving at a second residence on Tubbs Road, where the residents quickly dialed the police on his behalf. "There's been a shooting at the bank," he urged, his voice trembling with urgency. "The SunTrust Bank on Tubbs Road." "Where are you, ma'am?" the operator asked, trying to gather information amidst the chaos. "The bank on Tubbs Road." A man came through the door, and he said there was a shooting. "His phone is up there," Benjamin exclaimed, his heart racing as he relayed the terrifying events. As the chaos unfolded, a witness rushed to the scene, breathless and on the verge of collapse. In a frantic state, he searched for the man responsible for the shooting, but uncertainty clouded his mind. When pressed for a description, he managed to recall the details, sharing that he had seen the shooter. The witness, still reeling from the sound of gunfire, revealed that the individual involved in the shooting worked at the bank. This shocking revelation sent chills through those present as they processed the gravity of the situation. When asked about the shooter's identity, the witness confirmed he was indeed a bank teller. Meanwhile, another crucial call to 911 had been placed, but it came in after the initial report from Victor Sparks had already concluded. By the time that second call arrived, the confrontation with Zephen had already ended. The SWAT team, responding swiftly, arrived at the scene, their presence heightening the tension. Yet, even amidst the chaos, a crisis negotiator remained on the line with Zephen, deeply engaged in a precarious dialogue. For an entire hour, she diligently worked to de-escalate the situation, her voice calm and steady as she sought to talk him down from the edge. In a remarkable turn of events during the chaos, someone managed to reach out to Zephen. Her calm and steady voice cut through the tension, and through patience and gentle persuasion, she coaxed him to relinquish his weapon. "That's okay," she reassured him, acknowledging the vest he wore and the gun he held. "Can you put the gun down, at least on the desk?" she urged, her voice unwavering. "You don't have to put it away completely, but just place it down for now." "Can you do that for me?" she continued, emphasizing the importance of keeping the weapon out of his hands. "It's okay, just let it rest there." Yet, in that moment, every second felt like an eternity as Zephen hesitated. As the crisis negotiator maintained her composure, she could sense a troubling confession from Zephen. He hinted at a desperate need to keep the voices quiet, revealing a chilling connection between his turmoil and the weapon in his hand. The clarity of his words, though haunting, painted a picture of his inner chaos. "Having a gun to your head keeps the voices quiet," he admitted, a stark revelation that underscored his fragile mental state. The gravity of the situation hung heavily in the air as the negotiator continued her efforts to keep him calm, fearing what might happen if he lost control. For nearly 40 agonizing minutes, she spoke to him, threading her words carefully to maintain his composure. Finally, the tension broke as the SWAT team arrived, swiftly taking him into custody. With that, The horrifying ordeal came to an end, leaving behind a community in shock. In the aftermath, news of the crime spread like wildfire, igniting conversations across the community. People were desperate for answers, grappling with the question of what could drive a young man to such extremes. What motive could possibly exist behind the brutal act of robbing a bank? Questions swirled. Did Zephen know the victims? Was there a personal grudge that had pushed him over the edge? Yet, as investigators dug deeper, the answers revealed a stark reality. There was no hidden motive, no connections to the victims. While Zephen had made a withdrawal of $600 just 4 days prior to the shooting, there was no indication that he knew those he would soon harm. In fact, during a tense conversation with the crisis negotiator, he mentioned feeling treated well by the bank employees. This revelation painted Zephen not as a cold-hearted robber, but as a young man battling profound demons from his troubled past. And this left the community with one haunting question. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Born on April 2 and 1997, Zephen claimed to be from Plymouth, Indiana, though he had settled in Sebring for less than a year. He described himself as a product of divorced parents, a factor he believed had shaped his life in ways he couldn't articulate. School had never been his refuge. He bounced between schools in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana, but never reached graduation. His struggles with behavioral issues and mental health challenges derailed any hope of completing high school. At the age of 15, his turmoil manifested when he climbed onto the roof of his father's house, an act of self-harm that led to his first psychiatric hospitalization. Yet, the darkness had taken root years earlier. During an interview, he confessed to hearing voices since he was 11 commands urging him towards violence. This was not the first time Zephen had succumbed to these sinister whispers. In high school, he had attacked a fellow student without provocation, a violent outburst that resulted in a week's stay at a psychiatric facility. Yet, he never disclosed the voices to the doctors, and he was released back into the world. This marked the beginning of Zephen's struggle with mental health, a battle that had been raging since his early childhood. In a chilling interview with investigators, he confessed that he had been hearing voices since he was 11 years old, full-blown commands urging him to commit acts of violence. This was not the first time he had succumbed to their influence, as he reflected on a past incident in high school where he had attacked a fellow student without provocation. That violent outburst led to a brief stay in a psychiatric hospital, but he had concealed the voices from the doctors, which resulted in his early release. Life continued on for Zephen, seemingly unperturbed, until that fateful day when everything spiraled out of control. Speculation circulated that the incident was triggered by his recent breakup, yet the roots of his turmoil ran far deeper. Zephen's life had seemingly resumed after his release from prior circumstances, but that all changed when he crossed the line into darkness. The tragedy that followed would forever alter the lives of many. In the days that followed, unsettling rumors surfaced, suggesting that Zephen had sent a text to his ex-girlfriend just moments before the tragedy unfolded. Authorities quickly reached out to question Alexandra Gerlach, who provided vital insight into Zephen's troubled mind. Gerlach recalled that their paths had crossed at a mental hospital, a place where both had sought help for their struggles with depression. Their shared experience drew them together, but the darkness loomed large over Zephen. Gerlach candidly disclosed that even during their time in the hospital, Zephen had expressed thoughts of self-harm. She had pleaded with him to promise he wouldn't take his own life, but this plea seemed to shift something within him. Zephen confided in her, chillingly stating, "If I can't kill myself, then I want to kill others." This stark declaration painted a haunting picture of his mindset leading up to the tragic events. Zephen's transformation into an angry individual was noted by his ex-girlfriend, Alexandra Gerlach. She struggled to comprehend the source of his rage as he confided in her about his dark aspirations. He spoke of dreams that revolved around violence, ominously hinting at a desire to kill. During one particularly disturbing confession, Zephen revealed a nightmarish vision where he inflicted harm on his classmates. This alarming admission prompted him to share his thoughts with a school counselor, a decision that ultimately led to his expulsion from high school. Gerlach recalled that this troubling incident likely took place in either 2014 or 2015, although she could not definitively recall any subsequent events at school that mirrored this alarming behavior. The shadows of Zephen's past loomed large as he continued down a dark path. In a troubling reflection, Alexandra Gerlach recounted that Zephen Xaver had joined the military in 2016, only to be discharged shortly thereafter. She recalled his chilling words. He believed he could kill people and evade consequences. Gerlach disclosed that Zephen was expelled from the military after he threatened to kill another soldier in his unit. Following this, he took on the role of a correctional officer trainee with the Florida Department of Corrections at the Avon Park Correctional Institution. However, he resigned from this post on January 9, 2019, just weeks before the tragic events unfolded. Gerlach noted that after Zephen's military discharge, their communication dwindled significantly. Yet, a week after the shooting, she found herself in a private conversation with him on Instagram. In that exchange, Zephen sent her a photograph of a handgun he had recently acquired. When she inquired about his purchase, he nonchalantly replied that he simply wanted one. Gerlach struggled to recall specific details about the handgun, admitting that it was the last time she would ever speak to Zephen. However, he did not hold back when confronted by police. In a disturbingly calm demeanor, Zephen was eerily cooperative, as though he was compelled to lay everything bare. He confirmed he had indeed bought the handgun just 2 days before the fateful day. Yet on that day, something had shifted within him. The voices in his head crescendoed, becoming louder and more insistent, drowning out all rational thought. With his mother away in Illinois for a week-long training, he found himself utterly alone. It was then that Zephen reached out to one of his ex-girlfriends, not Gerlach, but Imani Davis. Davis, who had known Zephen through a long-distance relationship, primarily conducted online, later testified about their complex past. She revealed that they had connected during her high school years, and their conversations often spiraled into dark territories, discussing self-harm, death, and despair. Their phone calls could stretch for hours, sometimes even days, consumed by these heavy themes. Yet by May 2018, their relationship had fizzled, and they ceased all communication. That was until January 23, 2019, the day of the shooting, when Zephen unexpectedly reached out to her. His tone was strikingly different, laced with an unusual excitement that was wholly uncharacteristic. Then, at precisely 12:14 p.m., while parked in the bank's lot, Zephen sent a message that would chill Davis to her core. The message was a haunting declaration. He would not go out alone that day. He intended to take a few people with him, sharing his long-held desire to kill. He ominously warned her to look out for him on the news in Sebring, Florida. Horrified, Davis immediately responded, expressing her concern for his well-being. However, realizing the gravity of the situation, she swiftly shared the messages with her gym teacher, for she was in gym class at the time. This alarming revelation triggered a rapid escalation of events. The school principal and psychiatrist intervened, and law enforcement in both her locality and Sebring were alerted. Unfortunately, by the time action was taken, it was already too late. Reports indicated that Zephen entered the bank with an unsettling smile, approaching the teller before suddenly brandishing his weapon. Another witness recounted a chilling encounter, having locked eyes with Zephen in the parking lot moments prior to the shooting. When asked to recount his experience, the witness detailed, "I pulled in, backed the vehicle, then got out. There was a white male in the car. We actually made eye contact. I didn't think anything of it." Imani Davis was left horrified by Zephen's messages. She immediately recognized the gravity of the situation and responded without hesitation, exclaiming, "There's something wrong with you, seriously." Understanding the urgency, she quickly alerted her gym teacher about the disturbing content. The school administration sprang into action as the principal and psychiatrist were summoned. Law enforcement agencies in both her area and Sebring were notified. Tragically, however, by the time they were involved, the unthinkable had already occurred. Reports indicated that Zephen entered the bank with a disconcerting smile, approaching the unsuspecting teller before abruptly brandishing a firearm, plunging the scene into chaos. In a shocking revelation, another witness emerged, claiming to have locked eyes with Zephen Xaver in the parking lot just moments before the harrowing shooting occurred. The witness recounted their experience, recounting the chilling encounter with a sense of foreboding. A witness later recounted the fateful moments leading up to the tragedy. After pulling into the bank lot and exiting his vehicle, he noticed a white male in another car. They exchanged brief eye contact, an interaction that seemed trivial at the time. The witness entered the bank to conduct 2 transactions, engaging in casual conversation with Marisol Lopez about being locked out of his SunTrust account. Time slipped away unnoticed as he remained unaware of the impending horror outside. Upon returning to the parking lot, he spotted Zephen still seated in his car, their eyes locking once more. A sense of unease crept over him, but he dismissed it, continuing with his day, heading to McDonald's, and later logging onto Facebook. Witnesses recounted the harrowing moments when they realized the magnitude of the tragedy unfolding. One individual vividly described Zephen to her boss, capturing the chilling essence of the perpetrator. As the case advanced to trial, Zephen faced 5 counts of first-degree murder. In March 2023, Zephen Xaver made the fateful decision to plead guilty to all charges. The prosecution, driven by the need for justice, sought the death penalty. By June 2024, the jury echoed this call with a recommendation, voting 9-3. Ultimately, on December 16, 2024, the gavel came down, and Zephen was sentenced to death. Judge Angela Cowan underscored the premeditated nature of his actions, highlighting the profound impact on the victims' families and the broader community. The devastating loss of 5 lives etched a permanent scar on the hearts of their families. Marisol Lopez's daughter, among others, bravely spoke out, voicing the deep void her mother's absence left behind. In a pivotal moment, the jury delivered a verdict of 9-3, concluding that Zephen Xaver should face the ultimate punishment, death. This verdict was championed by the state attorney's office, bolstered by the heart-wrenching support from the families of Cynthia Watson, Jessica Montague, Marisol Lopez, Deborah Cook, and Anna Panion-Williams. Marisol Lopez, the first victim to confront Zephen's weapon when he stormed into the bank, was remembered not just for her tragic end, but for the positivity she radiated. A devoted mother of 2, her light will forever be missed by her family and the community that cherished her warmth. Anna Panion-Williams, a 38-year-old mother of 7, shared a similar fate. A dedicated employee at the bank, her passion for her work and unwavering love for her children marked her life. Marisol and Anna's stories intertwined in a tapestry of loss that would haunt their loved ones forever. The tragedy of their deaths served as a grim reminder of the fragility of life and the irreversible consequences of violence. As the investigation unfolded, the narrative emerged that Zephen's violent spree was perhaps ignited by personal turmoil. Speculation suggested that his recent breakup with a girlfriend may have triggered a devastating spiral that led to that fateful day. The sudden loss of Jessica Montague, a beloved figure in her community, left her family in profound grief. As a devoted mother and wife, her absence resonated deeply. The community of Sebring mourned alongside them, sharing in the heartbreak. At just 31 years old, Jessica had dedicated her life to her role as a teller at SunTrust Bank. She was a loving mother to 5 children and the wife of Jermaine. Tragically, just days before the shooting, Jessica had been planning to celebrate her wedding anniversary. The couple's 3-year-old child was left without a mother, a loss that words cannot fully capture. A friend recalled Jessica as a radiant woman, someone who could effortlessly light up a room. Her untimely death not only shattered her family, but also left an irreplaceable void in their lives. Deborah Cook, at 54, was another victim of this tragic event. A California native, she had been married to her husband, Michael, since 1984. Known for her unwavering dedication and kindness, Deborah had spent many years working at the bank. Survived by 2 sons, a granddaughter, a grandson, and a daughter-in-law, her family cherishes the memories of a woman whose heart was as golden as her spirit. They remember her as a loving and supportive presence in their lives. Cynthia Watson, aged 65, was a customer at the bank that fateful day. Just weeks before the shooting, she had married her longtime partner, Tony Watson. They had shared 5 years together before tying the knot on January 3 RD 2019. Living in Venus, Florida, surrounded by their pets, including 2 Shih Tzus, chickens, and goats, Cynthia was remembered by her friends as a passionate animal lover. This tragedy caught everyone off guard, especially considering how ordinary Zephen Xaver appeared. To those in the Sebring neighborhood, he was a well-mannered young man with a job and what seemed like a passion for life. He blended seamlessly into the community, maintaining a routine that raised no suspicions. One neighbor recalled Zephen as someone who consistently brought positivity to those around him. Yet beneath this facade of normalcy lay a darkness that would soon be unleashed. The world, so familiar with his benign demeanor, could never have anticipated the horrors that were about to unfold. He was not just a face in the crowd, he was a perpetrator whose actions would forever alter the lives of many, a stark reminder that evil can often hide behind a mask of normality. Friends and family struggled to reconcile the image of Zephen Xaver with the horrific crime he had committed. He works, he has his car. He seemed like a functioning 21-year-old, one acquaintance noted. To those who knew him, Zephen was often quiet, retreating to his room to play video games. However, he also exhibited a gentler side, showing kindness to his friend's daughter. "I would never allow my 9-year-old around someone I thought was dangerous," she remarked, reflecting on her trust. She admitted to never sensing any threat from him. At just 27 years old, Zephen found himself detained at Florida State Prison, where he now resides on death row, a stark contrast to the life he once led. As the tragedy unfolded, questions arose: could this calamity have been averted? Or, given Zephen's troubled mental state, was it an inevitable outcome? The implications lingered in the air, inviting speculation. What are your thoughts on this? If you appreciate our deep dives into such cases, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thank you for joining us as we explore the complexities of this tragic story. Your support helps us shine a light on these important issues.